Who was the mysterious woman seen with Jungkook in Tokyo that night? Why did he hide his face from the camera? And why did Jungkook look so different during his travels? Don't miss the big reveal that rocked fans around the world. Watch the video. Leave your opinion in the comments. Click like and subscribe so you don't miss the continuation of the story. Did you see it too? A brief highlight, no more than a few seconds, as the amateur camera vibrates records Jungkook's figure walking through night Tokyo, with someone beside him. Someone who leaves the entire ARMY community speechless for one reason. No one knows who he is. The question has been hanging for more than a week. Who is the figure who hides his face behind a black bucket hat and a pure white mask? Why does Jungkook, who usually keeps his distance from personal rumors, seem so relaxed with her? And why, in the days that followed, did Jungkook's expression at the airport look so much deeper, as if carrying something heavy from that trip? Tokyo, night of May 23, 2025. Jungkook had just completed an activity that was not officially listed in his public schedule. There is no live broadcast, no Weverse updates, just one short post on Instagram stories, a faint photo of a car window with the lights of Tokyo in the distance, and the caption, "Quiet but felt." That's enough speculation. But no one expected that the speculation would snowball into a huge mystery with one amateur video. The video was first circulated in the Japanese ARMY community. Fans who accidentally filmed her admitted that she just wanted to capture the night in Shibuya. But accidentally, he catches the moment when Jungkook and an unknown figure come out of a traditional-style restaurant, looking calm and too close. Jungkook held the umbrella, slightly tilting it towards the figure. They laugh a little, barely audible in the video, but enough to show an unusual familiarity. Fans dissected every frame of that video. They zoom in, lower the brightness, look for reflections in the shop windows around, match the pieces of clothing with the fashion shows that are taking place in Tokyo. Some speculated that it was Jungkook's personal stylist. Others assume he is a member of the MV production team. But there is no confirmation, no defense from HYBE. There is no official statement. And it is in that silence that curiosity develops into obsession. An internal source, who did not want to be named due to job security reasons, finally leaked information that has been very closely guarded. The identity of the mysterious figure is not just someone from the industry, nor from among celebrities, but someone who is very personal to Jungkook. Someone who has never appeared in public. Someone who is almost unknown to anyone outside his immediate circle. And this is not about a lover. At least, not what you think. That figure is Jungkook's childhood friend. A woman who once lived in Busan with him, and reportedly, according to the internal source, had meant a lot in Jungkook's teenage years before he debuted in BTS. His name? Kept secret. Even in this leak, his full name is not mentioned. But the leaked information is enough to make anyone dumbfounded. The woman was once the only person who knew about Jungkook's emotional state before he moved to Seoul. In fact, it is said that he was the first to know that Jungkook once wanted to withdraw from training due to pressure. The question now is no longer just who is he, but rather, why now? Why did this figure appear when Jungkook was at the peak of his career, when BTS was undergoing a transition period after several members were drafted? Why in Tokyo, not Korea? And more importantly, what does this meeting mean for Jungkook? Some theories say that Jungkook is going through a period of introspection, that a trip to Tokyo is not just a vacation, but an escape. And the woman's presence is part of Jungkook's efforts to reconnect with the part of him he lost years ago. The same source said that for several days in Tokyo, Jungkook stayed in a private house that was not registered as a hotel or commercial inn. The house belongs to the woman. That is, both spend time privately, away from media publications and the spotlight of management. And one more surprising detail. The woman has a background in visual arts. He is not a celebrity, but has worked as a freelance illustrator on several small projects. One of them? A fictitious cover illustration project created anonymously for Jungkook's solo song a few years ago. Yes, they had reconnected even before this. Quietly, you can imagine now why the fans were so surprised. It's not just about who he is. It's about why he's so important to Jungkook, and why Jungkook chose to remain silent. Hyb, until this article was created, has not provided a response. But tensions began to be felt even in the international army community. Some fans expressed emotional support, feeling that this was a human moment from an idol who has been living under pressure. But not a few also feel betrayed, because Jungkook looks so closed but apparently keeps the old relationship so deep. Will this affect Jungkook's image in the future? The answer: it depends on how he handles it. But one thing is certain: the world now knows that even Jungkook, with all his public perfection, still holds a special space that no one but one figure from the past can touch. Now comes the last question that hangs asterisk. Is this just a reunion, or an old story that has just begun anew? Asterisk. Dan. Does Jimin know? Some loyal fans directly linked this incident to Jimin and Jungkook's last interaction at the airport before Jungkook's departure to Japan. A viral video showed Jimin as if he wanted to say something, but Jungkook only smiled faintly and hugged him quickly. Does Jimin know who was waiting for Jungkook in Tokyo that night? Is Jimin's silence a form of blessing? Or disappointed form? No one knows. But the world is watching everything. And you, who are reading this, are being part of one true story that feels like the plot of a drama that is too good not to go viral. One day after the leak of the woman's identity came to the surface, the Twitter universe, or X as it is now called, was hit by a storm of speculation. The hashtag who is she started trending globally, and soon it morphed into hashtag Jungkook betrayal, a narrative not everyone was prepared to hear. That what happened in Tokyo was not just a silent reunion or nostalgia from the past, but rather an emotional betrayal of someone much closer and, perhaps all this time, secretly filling Jungkook's heart space in the present. Many have begun to relate Jungkook and Taehyung's cold interactions over the past few months. Photos from the group's schedule that show their body distances, the usually warm concert moments that later seem awkward, and especially the backstage moments when Taehyung glances at Jungkook but doesn't look back. All of that is now reread with one new narrative. Something broke, and Tokyo was the trigger. Then, someone leaked a voice message that was reportedly recorded from a waiting room a few weeks before Jungkook's departure to Japan. In a voice that sounded like Taehyung though unverified, he said slowly but clearly, "You can go anywhere, even to Japan, but don't pretend I don't know who you met there." The sentence echoed like a bomb, not only because of the content of the message, but because of the emotional vibration that feels bitter, full of wounds, and, more than anything, full of betrayal that is never spoken directly. Since when did Jungkook hide his relationship with her? Why was he so bold as to risk the public's trust, even his closeness to other members, just for the sake of someone who was not even known to the army community? Does this mean that there is always an empty space that can never be filled by those closest to him? And if true, why he chose to fill it in quietly, as if knowing that the public would never understand, or worse, will never forgive? And if it's true that Taehyung feels betrayed, what about Jimin? One of the comments sticking out of a large fanbase account stated, "All this time we thought Jungkook was looking for peace. It turned out that he was hiding something that could even destroy the dynamics of BTS from the inside." Not all wounds are visible, and not all betrayals start with a kiss. Sometimes it's enough just one trip without saying goodbye. Even more surprising came when someone uploaded a snippet of a chat that he said came from a private group between several members. In a conversation that could not be verified but spread quickly, someone asked, "Did he tell HYB about him?" And answered by someone else, "Not yet. He thinks he can handle this on his own, but it will only aggravate everything." If the piece is true, then what is going on is much bigger than just gossip, that it's not just about who the woman is. It's about how Jungkook, the idol with the most perfect image, the most golden, the most reliable, turns out to keep a story so dark and personal that none of us can see it coming. Does she feel tired of being image perfect? Was the meeting a form of silent resistance to the demands of the agency, fans, even group mates? More and more fans are starting to question the narrative they've been believing. The narrative that BTS is one unit, that there is no big secret between them. But now, one quiet trip to Tokyo has broken everything into unexpected fragments. And more controversially, there were rumors that the woman was expecting a baby. Yeah, you didn't hear me wrong. This rumor came after an anonymous Japanese stylist uploaded a cryptic Insta story, a photo of a test pack with a two-stripe sign, with the caption, "Life surprises us in the most golden way." Despite not naming names and being removed immediately after 2 hours, the public immediately associated him with one name, and only one name. Jungkook. HYB is said to have called legal security to trace this leak. But their secretive move sparked even more suspicion. Many concluded, if the rumors are not true, why not refute them immediately? And if true, why be silent? Is HYB preparing a strategy to dampen this storm? Or will this be the biggest scandal in the history of fourth-generation K-pop, shaking not just one fandom, but an entire industry? Some international media circles even equate this potential crisis with a scandal of a global scale. There was talk in the newsroom that this could change the direction of Jungkook's career forever. He may not be leaving BTS, but the image of Golden Magne will never be the same again. And of course, as always, the public was divided. There are those who blame the woman, considering her a bully who appears at an inopportune moment. Others blame Jungkook, saying he was selfish for keeping a secret of this magnitude even from the army who had supported him since the age of 15. But there are also those who defend, he is human. He has the right to choose who he loves, even if it means hiding it from a world that is too judgmental. But all agreed on one thing. Jungkook was no longer the same. The question now isn't just about who the women are, or what they're doing in Tokyo. The question is, after this, who will stay? You? Or are you going too, like he did? And what's even scarier is, what happens if the silent voices of Taehyung and Jimin finally break? If the feelings that had been silenced suddenly spilled out in the middle of the stage? Can BTS still survive? Or is Tokyo the beginning of a rift that has been denied for too long? The truth can no longer be hidden. And now, it's not just fans who are burning with curiosity and disappointment, but also group mates, industry seniors, and even HYB's own internals are starting to show symptoms of a crack that can't be hidden in a Korean entertainment world that places so much emphasis on image and total control over the public narrative. Jungkook's actions are considered an almost unforgivable form of defiance. He not only dared to travel abroad without the official assistance of HYB staff, but also covered up a very personal emotional interaction with someone who did not receive permission of existence from the agency. More than that, it creates its own personal narrative, and for the K-pop world, it's a form of structural chaos that could make everything collapse. An unnamed source, who said he was part of HYB's internal security team, claimed that over the past 48 hours, they had received more than 5 reports of Jungkook's non-protocol behavior. Not only about the secret departure, but also about the sensitive communication that took place between Jungkook and the woman through private social media accounts that were never made public. The accounts, which have now been closed, left behind enough digital footprints to prove that their communications had been going on long enough, long before the public started guessing. And in the midst of that storm, another rumor emerged that was even more shocking. It was mentioned that the mysterious woman had rejected a relationship with Jungkook when they were teenagers, on the grounds that she wanted to protect her dreams. But now, after the two have grown up and are in very different places, the feelings that were once buried have risen again. For some people this may sound romantic, but for many fans, this is a betrayal of all the promises Jungkook made about focusing on careers, on members, and on the army. Is everything just a lie neatly wrapped in a sweet smile in front of the camera? And what about the other members? The issue became even more heated when Jimin was not present at his weekly live broadcast. Without explanation, without replacement, observant fans immediately noticed that Jimin removed several photos with Jungkook from his Instagram iconic photos that were once considered symbols of lifelong friendship. There is no official explanation. But Jimin's silence spoke louder than 1,000 clarifications. More surprisingly, a screenshot from the fan community app showed Taehyung liking a fan post with the quote, "Not because you left, but because you didn't say goodbye. That's what hurts. Asterisk, there is no need for stronger evidence than that to justify what the other members are feeling. And while the public is still busy analyzing their expressions, one more darker layer of truth begins to lift. HYB has reportedly held an emergency internal meeting to discuss the possibility of separating Jungkook's activities from the BTS brand temporarily. This has never happened before. Jungkook is the face of BTS, the voice of BTS, and has been referred to as one of the agency's quality assurance. But now, even he is not immune from the consequences.